Hey, this is Mr. Jarvis with Homework Help for February 5th, and we're looking at these puzzles where the two side numbers, you write the product of those two side numbers up here and the sum of them down here. So 16 times 25 hundredths is, or 1/4 is 4. So what this is really saying is 16 ones times 1/4 equals 4 ones, or 4. And then so 16 plus 25 hundredths, if you're just lining up your place value, 16 and 25 hundredths right there. Okay, so this one's a little harder. So we have what times 75 hundredths, or 3/4, is going to give you 6. So there's two ways of going about it. You can multiply it like it's decimals. You can think of it as 75 hundredths times 10, and you can't see my decimal point here. And that would be 7 and 5/10, or 7.5, because you just move it one to the right. Well, that's a bit high, but not super high. So I might bring it down from 10 to 8. And if you want, you could think of 75 hundredths as 3/4. We all know those conversions, right? And let's see if 3/4 times 8 ones is going to give us 6. So we'll cross cancel. The greatest common factor can't simplify 3/4 or 8 ones, but I can. 4 in any numerator and any denominator can be simplified. 4 and 8, greatest common denominator is 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 2. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So 6 ones. And I get it. 6. Whoops. So this is my answer here. This 8 ones. This here, 75 hundredths, 3/4 is the same as 75 hundredths, times 8 is going to now give me 6. Okay, and then the easy part is the adding 8 plus 75 hundredths is 8. 8 and 75 hundredths. Just make sure I have a decimal point here. Okay, gets a little bit trickier with 25 hundredths, or 1/4 times what is 7. So 1/4, 7 is 1/4 of what number? Well, 7 is 1/4 times something over 1. 8 times 4 is 20. 7 times 4 is 28. So let's try 28. Okay, I wrote it backwards. 28 ones times 1/4 is equal to, so let's simplify here. 1, this becomes a 7. It's 7. So it's 28. So we have 28, and then you add these to get 28 and 25 hundredths. So I would just do using the guess and test method here. So what times 75 hundredths, or what times something over 1, and just plug in some numbers, times 3/4 is going to give you 2 and 1/4. So just plug in some numbers, check it out. Let's take a look at the next page here. So 1/3, and we've been doing these quite a bit, of 21. I like to think times 21 ones. I'm writing that, and I can cross cancel. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 21 divided by 3 is 7, and that's 7 ones, or 7. So 1/3 of 21 is 7. 2/3 of 21 would be 14, right? Absolutely. So we can test it. 2/3 times 21 equals, well, simplify again, same way. I get 7. 2 times 7 is 14 ones. Okay, I'll let you do the rest on your own. So 16 gallons of gas for $4.25 per gallon. Ooh, I wish I could find gas for $4.25 a gallon. So I'm going to break, one strategy, just multiply it straight out and use the technique I showed you today. the long multiplication and then just with the decimals. Another way is you can think of I could break it up into 3 problems. 10 gallons, 5 gallons, and 1. So if I can figure out 10, the double half method, I can figure out 5, right? So 10 times 4, 25 equals, so when I multiply by a power of 10, I just move the decimal 1 to the right. That's 4250. So 4, times 10, there's 1 0, so I move the decimal 1 to the right. So I'm doing this 10 times, 5 times, and 1 time. Okay? 5 times $4.25. Whoops, it's getting messy, but you know what? That's okay, because I could just do this in my head now. If 10 times 425 is 4250, 5 is half of 10, so the sum is going to be half. So half of 4250 is going to be 2125. And then finally, 1 times 425 is 425. And you can just add those all up. We have 3, 4, 8. Bring down the decimal point. 4 plus 2 is 6, $68. So I broke this down between 10 plus 5 plus 1. That would kind of help if you had to do it in your head. Or once again, you could, if you had time to write it out, just do it this way. Another way to do it. All right. Tracy bought a dozen of her mother's favorite flowers for $9. How much did each flower cost? Well, so you have $9 and divided by 12. Or do we do 12 divided by 9? Let's see here. So 12. So I get that $9 divided among 12. So 12 divided by 9. The whole thing's I'm kind of doing the guess and test model, see if it makes sense. So that's going to go 1 with $3 left over. That's going to go 3, $1.30. Well, if each flower costs over $1, there's 12 flowers, it's going to be more. So I'm doing something wrong. My answer, $1.30 something, doesn't make sense. So I need to do it the other way around. So what I need to do is think of it differently. So I need to think of a dozen, 9, or the 9 divided by 12. And let's see here. Let's try a 7. And I get a 6 here. And then if I bring up the decimal point, I get 75 cents. 5 times 12 is 60. You just line up that decimal point. Bring it right up. So it is 75 cents a flower. And that makes more sense because a dozen, 12 flowers cost $9. Each flower is going to be less than $1. So that's why, so always kind of think, does my answer make sense? And in this case, yeah, each flower, probably that does sound right. 75 cents a flower for 12. Okay. So good luck with all that. And I'm sure you're going to do great. And if you have questions on any of these, we'll talk about them tomorrow.